Boom, the deep state just took a direct hit, and you're about to find out why millions of Americans are cheering. Because President Donald J. Trump has officially obliterated Biden's IRS army, shredding it like yesterday's lies. And in the ashes, he dropped a Social Security bombshell that is already flipping the system on its head. Now, for years, we've been told the same old lie that we need more IRS agents, that we need more audits, more surveillance. But Trump just proved the exact opposite, and the numbers, they back him up. Less government, more money collected, and now more power back in your hands. So guys, it gets even better, but even darker at the same time, because what President Trump just exposed about Social Security, it is not just shocking. This is enraging. For decades, you've been overpaying into a system that was never designed to pay you back fairly. And it's no accident. This was a setup. And now that President Trump ripped the lid off the IRS, he's now cracking the Social Security machine next. So here's what I want to uncover today. Why President Trump's IRS purge caused tax revenues to surge while Biden's bloated system failed, how the SSA quietly changed payout policies, and what this means for you right now, the dark secret that's behind withholding taxes, a psychological trick that the government used to blindfold your bank account. And finally, of course, what President Trump's next move might be to dismantle this entire rigged game once and for all. So stay locked in, guys, because the deeper we go, the more outrageous it actually gets. Oh, and when you hear the final Social Security twist, you're going to realize that this wasn't just a cleanup. This was a full-blown elimination. So let's go. By the way, if you appreciate the daily news updates, smash the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. So let's start with the numbers that they didn't want you to see. Under President Trump, the IRS lost over 26,000 employees. That's 25% of its entire workforce gone. Gone are thousands of tax auditors, revenue agents, bureaucrats who made their careers combing through your finances like some vultures circling a paycheck. Now, you would think tax collection would collapse, right? Wrong. As of June 2025, with that slashed workforce, the U.S. government collected $245 billion more than it did at this point last year. Let that sink in. Fewer agents, more money, less harassment. So here's the million-dollar question. If President Trump can downsize the IRS and still bring in record-setting revenue, then why did Joe Biden demand 87,000 new IRS agents in the first place? I mean, was it really about closing the tax gap, or was it just about building a federal army to monitor you? Now, let's talk about that army, shall we? Because Biden, he didn't just expand the IRS, he weaponized it. Back in 2022, he pushed through the Inflation Reduction Act. Some of you may remember that. And with this Inflation Reduction Act, it came funding for a tidal wave of new IRS agents armed with computers, audits, and the authority to poke through every dollar you made. There were even rumors of some of these IRS agents being armed with guns. Anyway, they said it was about making billionaires pay more. But who really got flagged? You did. Meanwhile, President Trump, he wasn't interested in bloating the system. He was busy modernizing it. He pushed for digital tools. He eliminated outdated bureaucracy. He focused on efficiency, not expansion. And it worked. Under President Trump, the IRS began to finally operate like a 21st century agency, not some like 1950s tax police force, right? So let me ask you this. Do you want a lean, tech-savvy government that actually works? Or do you want a bloated surveillance machine that's built to essentially monitor the middle class and protect the elite? Which would you rather have, right? Oh, and we're just getting started here, guys. Like, you're not even going to believe how many people are on the wrong Medicare plan. They're paying more than they should. They're getting less than what they deserve. And this is why I partner with Chapter. They're not tied to any one insurance company. They work for you. Marianne Comney, she said, Chapter is fantastic. My guy Vance is a hero in my eyes. I love it. Darlene Walraven, she said she wrote in and she wanted to thank me personally. She said Chapter helped her save $200 a year and lowered all of her costs across the board. These are real stories, guys. And these are people who are willing to make one phone call. And that one phone call that they decided to make one day changed everything for them. So what would happen if you called and you work with Chapter? How much of a change could happen for you? Well, you'll never know unless you call. So anyway, I left the number down below. Phone number is 909-563-8279, or go to askchapter.org/Ron, and it's totally free. Now, let me ask you something directly. When you get your paycheck, do you really know what's missing? I mean, most Americans do not. And this is not your fault. This is by design, actually. You see, when the IRS takes money out of your check before you even touch it, it's not just convenient. It's psychological warfare. They're calling it withholding. Anybody ever heard of that term before? How many of you guys hate that term? But what it really is, it's a psychological trick. This is one of the most effective ever used by the federal government. Here's the thing. You don't ever feel the full cost of what you're paying because you never get to see it. And this is why they're doing this. And here's the hard truth behind this. If Americans had to write a $25,000 check to the IRS every April, not 10% of our entire population would be willing to tolerate it. You see what I'm saying here, guys? Withholding, this is how they keep you blind, how they keep you docile and quiet. And it worked right up until now. President Trump just shattered that illusion by eliminating over 26,000 IRS jobs and exposing how the government could run leaner and smarter. He didn't just save money. He exposed the entire psychological trap. And that, my friends, brings us to the Social Security bombshell. Now, for decades, we were told Social Security was safe, that our contributions were guaranteed, right? But what Trump's team uncovered paints a far darker picture. Behind the scenes, the SSA had been over-collecting, delaying payouts, and using broken formulas that underpaid millions. And it gets even worse than that. Under Biden, the SSA doubled down on these clawbacks, chasing elderly Americans for supposed overpayments, even when it was the government's own mistake that caused it. But in 2025, under Trump, all of that ended. His administration forced the SSA to modernize its entire structure. Faster eligibility verification, updated COLA indexing tied to real inflation, not some manipulated metrics, a rollback of aggressive clawbacks that punish seniors for the government's failures. Now, for the first time in years, the Social Security system is actually being held accountable, and it's because President Trump had the courage to pull the pin and drop this reform bomb. Now, if you're serious about staying ahead, guys, grab my free breaking news email. I left a link for you guys in the pinned comment. This is the filter for the noise, okay? I left it for you in the pinned comment. Join our breaking news newsletter down below. Now, I want to talk about the dirty little secret that's behind this idea of random audits. Yeah. So we're told that the IRS goes after cheats, lawmakers, billionaires hiding money offshore. But that's not what really happened under Biden. Instead, his IRS army came after you. Small business owners, freelancers, Uber drivers, people selling on Etsy or Facebook Marketplace, even seniors who accidentally sent too much to their grandkids on Venmo. Meanwhile, the billionaires with teams of lawyers and offshore accounts, they were untouched. Does that sound fair to you? I mean, this wasn't enforcement. It was really more like intimidation, a warning shot to regular Americans. Hey, we're watching you. But President Trump, he saw this coming. This is why he didn't just defund the plan, he dismantled the structure that made it even possible. So, by eliminating 26,000 IRS employees, including thousands of auditors, he crippled their ability to target honest citizens and restored a layer of protection for working people. Because here's the truth. When was the last time a billionaire got audited? But you got flagged for getting a $600 Venmo? Yeah, exactly. Does that make any sense to you? Now, ask yourself, why did Biden push for 87,000 new IRS agents in the first place? They said it was about revenue, right? But remember, Trump downsized the IRS and they collected $245 billion more this year than what Biden did with a bloated staff. So again, it wasn't about revenue. It was really about surveillance, control, and fear. And they wanted an army of agents monitoring your accounts, your apps, your business, your side hustle, all under the guise of fairness. Now, I mean, here's something that will make complete sense to you, and it will basically uncover the curtain that the government has been trying to keep in front of our eyes for the longest time, right? Think about it. How many billionaires are there even in the United States? What, maybe 1,000, right? But yet they're saying that they're going after the billionaires. So why would you hire 87,000 auditors to go after 1,000 different people, right? It really doesn't even add up. So anyway, Trump didn't just expose the scam, he ended it through these smart tech reforms, internal audits, and budget cuts to bloated agencies. He proved that we never needed 87,000 new eyes on our bank accounts. We needed transparency, efficiency, and respect. And so this is exactly what we're finally getting. So I want to talk about the Social Security trap that nobody wanted to admit even existed. For decades, Americans poured money into Social Security, believe in the promise, hey, work hard, pay into the system, and one day you'll get it back. But behind the scenes, the SSA has been quietly miscalculating, mismanaging, and in many cases, flat out keeping more than it should have. Under past administrations, millions of Americans, they were overpaying into the system without ever even being told. And when these same Americans retired, they were met with delays, misadjusted cost of living increases, and even government letters demanding that they return the money that they didn't even realize that they weren't supposed to receive in the first place. Let that sink in, right? So you pay your whole life, and then the government demands change from your retirement check. But President Trump said enough of that nonsense. In early 2025, his administration launched an internal audit of SSA collection formulas. And what they found, it was worse than expected. So what did Trump do? Well, he ordered payout formulas to be corrected. He forced the SSA to stop clawing back payments from innocent seniors. And he also began returning over-collected funds to those who basically earned that money. Many people getting thousands of dollars back that they never knew that they were even owed. Because when President Trump talks about America first, evidently he means it. And that includes our seniors. So now, question is, where's all this money going? Now that the IRS army has been dismantled. Under Biden, it went to more agents, more audits, and more fear-driven bureaucracy. But under President Trump, those recovered funds are now tax revenue. They're being reallocated strategically and patriotically. Veteran benefits are being expanded, border security reinforced, infrastructure revived, Social Security stabilized. This is what happens when a government finally starts working for you and stops working against you. So, think about it. Make no mistake. President Trump didn't just eliminate waste. He reclaimed control. And so now that control is being handed right on back to the people. But here's the final twist here. What if, hear me out, guys, what if this IRS and SSA shakeup is only the beginning, right? So now that the IRS has been gutted and Social Security has been cracked wide open for reform, you got to ask, is this just the beginning? Because what we're seeing under President Donald J. Trump isn't just policy. It's a full-blown reset of how Washington operates. For decades, unelected bureaucrats held your money hostage behind red tape, fear, and manipulation. But in just months, Trump's administration has already cut the IRS by 25%, rebuilt the SSA's payout system, redirected funding back into the hands of real Americans, and exposed the dirty secrets that they never wanted to reveal. And now, word is spreading that other federal agencies are now under review. Redundant departments, oversized payrolls, backroom contractor deals, all of it on the chopping block. So here's what's coming next, guys. Civil service reform. No more lifetime job security for incompetence, a simplified tax code because the more complex it is, the more they can hide, automated government services. So you don't need to pay $400 to file your taxes on money that the government already knows that you made. President Trump's mission isn't just to save tax dollars. It's to return power back to the taxpayer. And so this pretty much starts with one question that every American must ask themselves right now. Who do you trust with your money? A bloated federal government agency that hides behind audits with withholding tricks? Or do you trust a commander-in-chief who's putting government back on a leash and giving you the leash to hold? Now, this wasn't just about the IRS. This wasn't just about Social Security. This is about who controls your paycheck, who controls your retirement and your freedom. And for the first time in decades, that control is shifting back to the people. And it started with one big boom. Trump obliterated the IRS, then dropped a Social Security bombshell. And now Washington is feeling the aftershock. Now, if this shook you, hit the like button, share it with someone who still thinks that the IRS is there to help, and Let me know in the comments. Do you trust the system to fix itself, or do you trust Trump to tear it down and rebuild it for us? And YouTube thinks that you're going to love this next video that's popping up right here. It dives even deeper into how this reset could shake the entire financial structure of Washington. Go ahead and watch this video next. Stay informed, because the war for your wallet just got personal.